The next few parts of this series are going to be relative to advertising and marketing. And this is an area that's actually my strong point. So I can basically say this. The most important thing that I've ever learned about marketing is to think as your buyers think. Think as the person who's going to use your service, your product. What would they want? What would they think? How would they look for you? Problem with a lot of marketing people and people who are just trying to sell their product is they do what I call copycat marketing. They try to copy the big guys and think, well, that's the best thing. I'll give you an example of a company that did this and saw their sales go way up and way down. We all know that Hertz is #1 in the rental car market and Avis is #2. Well, the only reason you know Avis is #2 is because they had a long period of marketing where they said they were #2. And they built on that and they built on that. And then at some point they stopped and they went down within a month and a half, they went down to #6 when they stopped promoting themselves as such. So you really need to think individually like, okay, what's different about my particular product? What's different about my particular service? How do I get that across? And the best way I think I've used is to use people that have no interest or no connection to what I'm doing and say, if you were going to look for this product, what would you type into the internet? What would you look up in the Yellow Pages, for those of you who still use the Yellow Pages? For those of you that even know what the Yellow Pages are. And you would be surprised what people come up with. And it can give you a different aspect of marketing or a way to market something. So that's the most important thing. Now we're going to go through a lot of information. Another key factor to marketing is to develop or build a list. And you may think, what's the big deal about a list? Well, if you think about, for instance, how many companies, let's use a company that does business cards, and I don't want to mention names. They do business cards online, and they'll give you 500 business cards or 100 business cards totally free, including shipping. How in the world do they do that? Because when you come to them and say, I want a business card, they know immediately that you are someone who's looking to build or start a business or a service. And your name has a tremendous amount of value with your email and so on. Well, when you order them, you have to say, send them to this address. Here's my phone number if there's any mistakes or whatever, or things you need to talk to me about. Here's my email address. And they take that and they put that out there, and they could sell your name to 500 different companies and make a fortune off of you. So my point is to tell you that building a list is crucially important. And we're going to talk more about that, not specifically about the list, but how to use the list in a little bit. I think another thing that's obvious, people say, do I need a website? Do I need flyers? Do I need brochures and so on? Well, that really depends on what you're doing and how long you intend to do it. The young lady that maybe you've seen, the 17-year-old, she didn't start her business with flyers for her neighborhood. She just went to her neighbors and said, hey, I'll paint the numbers on the side of the street for your house. Then she realized she needed to have flyers. Well, you may learn these things as you go along and you may decide them, and I'm talking obviously to someone who's very small if they're thinking that way in what they're looking to do. But I will tell you that virtually any business today, if you're going to be serious at all, you've got to have a website. That is crucial. And your website does not have to be fancy schmancy. It has to look professional. I don't recommend that you buy some, $100, $200, deal from somebody who says, yeah, I'll make you a website. And there's more to it than meets the eye to make a website that works. The key thing, and I'll give you an example in the business that we did that we just sold to our son, so it's now 12, 13 years old. When we started that business, which was a nutritional product that I made for myself after I had the heart attack and the strokes, and that product was to lower my blood pressure and clean out my arteries. Basically, that's what it was for. Well, because my son at the time was like 23 years old, his eyes are different than my eyes. So when he started to make the website, I could read it, you know, like with a magnifying glass, I could read it. And he would do things like he wouldn't underline the words. Not to go back 13 years ago, okay, to when this started, because at that time, people didn't really know a link necessarily had lines under it, or that what they call a button was a button. It could just look like something on the page. And he thought I was crazy until we started the business and he started doing things and, you know, putting things up there and talking with the customers and finding out they didn't even know you had to click here or click there. They had no idea. So the number one thing on a website, beside it has to look good and provide information, and as much information as you want to give, is it's got to be intuitive, meaning that they come here and they, okay, I want to go look for the contact information. It's got to be easily, readily accessible, easy to find. That is probably the number one thing that people do wrong on their websites, is that they're not intuitive. And if the customer can't figure out how to use your site, I'll give you another example. Right now, this was new to me just a few weeks ago. When we were building part of the site, there's a little box at the top with a box and little lines in it. And it was also on the cell phones. And I didn't know what that was for. I guess I'm not very inquisitive. I never looked at it. But then when I needed to find the menu, I didn't know what to do. It doesn't matter whether you know what to do. It matters if I, the consumer, know what to do. So you have to make things like, for instance, when we did the thing for the nutrition company, not only did we have to make the words much bigger because the majority of people that were looking at it were older, but we had to do things like click here, underlined, and click here, so that people knew that they had to do that. So just what I'm trying to say is make it intuitive, make it understandable, and also something else. And this is a really, really important thing I'm going to tell you right now. When somebody comes to your site and they called you because they came to your site, I would recommend to you that you ask them if they're by their computer. And most of the time, believe it or not, almost all the time, they can get to their computer within seconds and say to them, you know what, let's get on the computer, let me show you. And when you do that, not only are you sort of giving them a walkthrough of your website, not that that's a big deal, and they see things that are in writing, but it's going to teach you very, very quickly when you do that what they don't know how to do on your site. You're going to find out that certain things are not intuitive. You're going to find out as you're trying to get them, you know, you'll pull your hair out of your head. You don't understand. Why is this so difficult that you can't, for instance, the URL line. It took me years to know what a URL was. And there's probably people that are watching this right now that don't know what a URL name is. It's the name of your website. It's what you type in. People would put in 3 words and they would put spaces between the words. And you realize people are doing that. So you'll learn a lot about your website by actually walking people through, but at the same time, you'll find out that they really appreciate it and it will clearly increase your sales when you do that. Okay, so we talked about lists. Let me talk about to me, the most effective way to build a list without having to spend extra money. On our website, we have a thing on the bottom that says, get your free book or something like that, free books, or get Don's free book. And it's right on the bottom of the page and it zips up, you know, as you move the page up, it keeps popping. And it's not obtrusive, it's not in your face, it's not a pop-up, but it's always there. And every time they move up and down the page, this thing moves a little bit. Motion is important on a website. And it's telling them that they can get my free book. They could care less about my free book until they've gotten into it a little bit and they realize, you know what, this guy's got some interesting information. Let me find out what his free book is. What does that mean? They go to that, they click on it, they put in their name, they put in their email address, and now they're on my list. Okay, what happens next? An email is sent to them and they have to accept the email. They have to say, yes, I'm willing to be on this list. So what do you think you can do when you send that acceptance letter is you can give a little bit more of information about yourself. So understand, and I'm going to talk more about autoresponders. In fact, I guess I should do it right now. We happen to use AWeber. I was around when AWeber started. They were up in Philadelphia. They were right around the corner from where I lived. They're now a much, much bigger company. And they're very much what's called whitelisted, which means that the companies that decide who's not getting emails from you are not going to block them, okay? AWeber is a company, there's MailChimp, there's a lot of crazy ones out there, and they all have basically the same services. But autoresponders are crucial to a business, meaning that I met you online, you called me, you read my information, you asked for my free book. Now the very first thing I'm going to do is send you, and immediately I'm going to send you an email. Thank you for requesting the free book. I hope it's very helpful to you. I just want to let you know, whatever else you wanted to say, or give them a coupon, or something on that order. The point is, you want to get their name and their email in exchange for something. And that something should always be something that's free, and there's nothing more free than information. Okay, let's go into a different segment here and talk about free or low-cost sources that you can use to advertise. So I guess let's first talk about Facebook. Facebook is, when I say free, you know, I don't know, you might have 500 friends, you may have 25 friends. Whoever they are, if you start to promote on your Facebook site what you're doing, and you keep talking about it and things that are relative to what you're doing, people are seeing you over and over, and you always want to encourage them on Facebook and all the social media, I'm just using Facebook as an example, to like or to share, okay, you know, those particular pieces that you send out. The more pertinent the information is to what you're doing, that does not mean you're giving them a sales pitch every time. For instance, when we had when Jackie and I were running the business for the Lower Your Blood Pressure product, I had written 167, now I didn't do it all in one day, it happened over a few years, 167 autoresponders. What that meant was that every week, once a week, they got a letter from me, and the letter wasn't, hey, buy my product, hey, we got this on sale. No, it was something relative to heart disease, or it was something relative to lowering their blood pressure, or it was something relative to what things they should or shouldn't eat. The more information, the more of the expert you can become, the better. So just sort of keep that in mind. Let's take another subject, promoting through invoices. If your company sends out invoices or bills, or your company sends out something specific, especially if you're doing it every month, you should always have some kind of a promotion in the envelope with the invoice. It doesn't have to be, you know, four-color, fancy-dancy. It's just some kind of a, you know, a special deal or something that they would need to know. The more you can become, again, as I said, the expert, the better. So take advantage of that. Okay, let's talk about organizations or businesses whose client may need your service. Now we talked about in the free teaching that I do, it's a 7-part teaching, and it's pretty bold here on the website. Make more money fast or increase your income fast. The bottom line is this: there are organizations that are similar to yours, or you have a service that they need. Let me give you an example. If you're willing to pick people up and take them from their house to their doctor's appointment, then why wouldn't you go to your to an organization, an elderly person's organization, and say, listen, would it be okay if I put my service on your website? You know, there's no charge. In fact, you might even pay them to do that. Meaning that if you go pick up somebody and they give you $20, you're going to give them 10%. It doesn't matter what you do or how you do it. The point is that people, meaning people are in a group, and if you have a service that provides for that group, then you definitely want to be able to go to those organizations or businesses and make a deal with them in some way, shape, or form that you can work with or you can offer something to their people. Now think about what I just said. You may not think that that's important, but let's use let's use AARP. Now, this is not going to happen with AARP, but if you were in the very early days of AARP and you were there in the beginning, not working for them, but you made an agreement with them that you would offer your service on there, and they became, as they are now, with millions of people that they email to all the time, you would be able to reach millions of people with your information at no cost or low cost. And something that I should tell you about when I say no cost or low cost, if you're making money and you're paying your bill out of income, then it's okay to just do that on anything you do. How do I say that differently? If you have to pay money in order to get something to happen, and it may or may not happen, that's a possible and a definite expense, because no matter what you do in advertising, it's not always going to work the way you think. But if you go to an organization and say, every time one of your people buys something from me or uses my service, I will pay you, and then they're just putting it on their site, or they're putting it in their bills that they send out every month, think about that. How many organizations are near you? How many nursing homes are near you? How many whatever, where the kids come to see their parents at the nursing home and they get billed every month. Well, do they get billed online? Do they get billed in mail? Put a flyer in there that you offer this service. In other words, use other companies that are somehow affiliated with what you do and work with their lists, with their people. You get the point. I'm trying to say to you is just, be creative is the best way I can say this. Another thing that you may be able to do, someone else has a site that you're not directly in business with them in any way, shape, or form, but their website has something to do with something you offer. You may or may not know what I'm talking about when I say this, but you want to post on their website. Same concept. In other words, if they're selling a water system, okay, that is totally not the same as yours, it's not the same product that you're selling, and you have a different variety of something they may be interested in, why don't you go to those companies and say, listen, let me be your guest expert, okay, and let me post something on your site that people will find interesting, and if they purchase it from me, I'll be glad to share a part of what they buy. But it's giving them the ability to have something to post, something to put out there. And again, it's all about lists. You understand, if you're working with a major company and you can get to work with them this way, that can be of extremely high value to you. And when they see something that's of value, for instance, you did a post, you explained, let me use an example. There's someone in my congregation who has a water machine that the water machine literally makes water out of the air, okay? Now, I was in the water business years ago for a very short period of time. And it wasn't because it didn't work out, it just didn't work out for our family. But if they had come to me and said that they have this service or this product, I would have definitely said, you know what? I'd love to tell people about that. It's not competing with what I'm doing water treatment, okay? So what kind of a company would, possibly work with this? How about well companies, okay? Who would think to go to a well company? Well, well companies work with people that are doing something with their water. I got a well at my house because here in Florida, it costs a fortune to water your lawn. So I invested up front, did the well, got the well, and if there was a way for me to get like free water instead of buying bottled water all the time, I'd like to look at that. I'd like to check that out. So my point is, work with companies that are like yours or whose customers may want your product. Okay, I think you get the point. Let's talk about voicemail. When you're working with voicemail, so many companies just, thank you for calling. I'm sorry we're not here at the present time. Leave your name and address. Leave your name and message, I mean. Okay, hello. How about saying something on your voicemail that is of some importance? Like you could check, how easy it is to change your voicemail. Are you aware that we have a special on so-and-so this month? If that's of interest to you, when you leave your voicemail, let us know. We'll call you back. Do you get my point? Also use your voicemail to be professional. If you're going to use a rinky-dink, disgusting sounding, awful voicemail system, you're going to sound like a rinky-dink, disgusting, who wants to work with this company. So I just want you to be aware. But your voicemail is an important thing for you. I think I should move on to affiliates. Affiliates, I guess the best way to talk about affiliates is this. When you have a company that is, or a person that you think could sell your product, or you want to get out there and have hundreds of sales reps working for you, or you've got a book you want to get out there, doesn't matter what it is. There's something called affiliate networks. Forget about the network part. When you get a shopping cart, without mentioning any names, they almost, when I say a shopping cart, an online shopping cart, the shopping carts have these affiliate things as part of the package. So why would I, if I have a product or a service that I want to sell, and it's not something that I have to worry about if they're saying something properly, like for instance, I did not want to do that when I had my the business when we were working in the product to lower your blood pressure, because I didn't want them saying the wrong things and getting us in trouble. But if I have some simple service, some straightforward product, whatever it is, why would I not want to have as many people as I can through their networks? That network might be their Facebook pages. They may be a professional marketing company. They may be whomever. Why wouldn't I want to give them a piece of every sale? So it's very easy to set up an affiliate network meaning lots of people, where people can take your product, whatever it is that you're selling, whatever service you're selling, and every time they send you a customer, you give them a piece of whatever it is that you're selling. Well, do you think that there might be some people in the world that can't get out of their house and they only can work on the phone and they would absolutely love to cold call? Well, I know I don't like to cold call, but let me give you an example of cold calling that is extremely valuable, and this is another topic, but I'll bring it together. This person who is housebound, this person who has 3 or 4 hours before the kids come home, this person who whatever during the day hours up until 9 o'clock at night has available time, and they're willing to get on the phone. So let's say that you have a service or a product that is of extreme interest to new homeowners. Somebody just moved in. Well, let's say you sell blinds, okay? Or you sell ceiling fans or whatever. It doesn't make a difference. Or your service is you cut lawns, or you'll pick up dog poop, or you'll walk their dog, or whatever. New homeowners, especially if they're coming from outside the area, and outside the area as a new homeowner doesn't mean they came from Philadelphia to Florida. They might have moved, 25 miles from here or there, and they're in the new neighborhood and they don't know where everything is. So have this person and it doesn't have to be a handicapped person, it could just be many different varieties of reasons why people are homebound. Have this person cold call to the people on this list. Well, where do you get the list? It's actually available for free at your courthouse. You could purchase it from places, but the point is you literally have a brand new list of people every single month. All of them have just moved in. You could be in a church and they're looking for a church, and a church calls them on the phone, and you're trying to build your church up. The point is, it doesn't matter. New homeowners, there's 2 things about new homeowners. Number one, they spend more money in the first few weeks of being in the house than they spend in the next few years in most cases, because they want to fancy up the house and so on. There's whole companies, Welcome Wagon and others, who do these things where they promote products. You could get into a Welcome Wagon package, a Valpak kind of package, things that are sent to new homeowners. The point is that there's a list and there's a way for you to promote and target, and we're going to talk much more about targeting. I want to end tonight and just know that there are many, many more things we have to talk about. This is a series. It's all about marketing, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for listening.